So let's try to discuss annuity. Now, anong ibig sabihin ng annuity? Simple lang actually siya. Kapag sinabing annuity, tandaan nyo tong tatlong words. Equal periodic payments. So, magfo-fall dito yung mga problem na parang hulugan or umutang ka tapos yung pagbayad mo tingi-tingi. But again, the condition should be pare-parehas. Alright? May interval and of course, bayad sila, syempre. Okay? So, ito yung ating mga condition that satisfies an annuity. So, this time, let's talk about annuity. There are actually 3 types of annuities. The ordinary, deferred, and annuity due. Now, each of them may sari-sariling formula, but I will try to make it simple to the point na you do not need to really memorize all the formulas here. So, maybe dalawa lang or better, isa lang talaga na technique for all the annuity problems. So, simulan natin sa pinakaunang type ng annuity and that is ordinary annuity. Now, ano bang konsepto nito? So, say ganito yung cash flow mo. Sa ordinary annuity, the first payment will occur sa number 1. So, ibig sabihin, ganito siya. So, itong mga A transactions na to will occur from 1 hanggang N. So, pati dito sa mga interval na nandito, meron din dyang mga transaction of A amount. Now, let's say gusto mong kunin dito yung present worth ng lahat ng mga transaction na to. Paano natin kukunin yon? Well, obviously guys, since mga transaction nga ito, pwede naman talaga natin yung manumanuhin. So, paano yon? Ilipat mo ito sa present, ilipat mo to sa present, ilipat mo to sa present, and so on. So, just like our previous na mga sinolve na problem, ganun din supposedly ang approach nito. Diba? Bawat transaction, gagamitan mo ng compound interest formula, the P times 1 plus I raised to N, but this time, hindi na P, of course, yung mga A na, and then, lilipat mo sila 1 by 1. So, to generalize, ganito lang talaga siya. Yung present worth, by using the concept of compound interest, will just be equal to A times 1 plus I. Now, wait. Diba? This might be the first time na na-encounter natin na present worth ang kinukuha. Tama ba? Now, remember that F is equal to P times 1 plus I raised to N. This formula. Now, kung iisipin, diba? Ang P equal lang sa F over 1 plus I raised to N. Correct? But actually, ayaw ko siya isulat ng ganun. I actually prefer the form na ganito. For what reason? Because if you do it like this, pwede mo siya ngayong isipin or isimplify na pera lang talaga siya, any amount, times 1 plus I raised to something. Now, ano tong something na to? Ano tong exponent na nilalagay dito? Diba? Now, itong exponent na nilalagay dito shall always follow the rule na pinag-usapan natin kanina. Ano yun? Yung kung saan siya patungo minus kung saan yung pera nanggaling. Pansinin nyo, when you remember it like that, lagi mo na lang siyang isipin as ganito. Then, ang 1 plus I naka-raise sa rule na yon. Now, ginagawa ko to, hindi para pahirapan kayo, no? Ginagawa ko to para kapag dumating tayo sa mga complicated na mga problem later on, okay, it will look very simple. So, balikan natin to. Tingnan nyo, ano ba dapat exponent nito? So, nanggaling yung A na to sa 1. Saan siya patungo? Sa 0. So, to put it here, it should be 0 minus 1, which means negative 1 dapat to. Right? Now, yung susunod na A will follow the same pattern. So, that's A, 1 plus I raised to, 0 minus 2 will give you negative 2, and so on up until you reach the last transaction. So, what's the last transaction? It's also A, then 1 plus I naman siya, raised to 0 minus N, which will give you negative N. Now, this right here is actually a geometric sequence. So, if this is a geometric sequence, adding them up will give you a geometric series. So, if this is a geometric series, may common ratio to. What would be the common ratio? the common ratio R will always be equal to the ratio between the two succeeding elements. So halimbawa, yung element 2 ko is A, 1 plus I raised to negative 2. While my first is A, 1 plus I raised to negative 1. Now, mapapansin nyo, if you simplify this, that will give you, now, negative means baliktad, nasa baba pala siya, no? Then ito nasa 1. So, therefore, matitira dito is 1 plus I raised to negative 1. Now, this value is always less than 1. I do not need to explain that, no? Because you can actually try it right there on your seats. No, try kayo mag-substitute ng kahit na anong value ng I. Yung realistic na value ng I, no? Well, interest is always greater than 0, eh? Or it's always a positive number. So there's no way that this whole thing will be greater than 1. It shall always be less than 1 for sure. So since less than 1 yung common ratio, this will be the formula na gagana. Alright? Now, kung iisipin, yung S na to is actually the present worth that we're trying to find. While yung common ratio is ito, and yung A naught is actually the first term, A 1 plus I raised to negative 1. So, by substituting the corresponding terms, so P, which is the sum of the series, will be equal to A naught. Ang A naught natin, remember, is A 1 plus I raised to what? It's raised to negative 1. Alright? Then, i-multiply ko siya. What's the common ratio again? It's 1 plus I raised to negative 1 na naka-raise saan? Naka-raise sa n. Did you get me? So, that's the common ratio because here, the term here is actually R raised to n. Alright? Now, 1 minus that, all over 1 minus another 1, 1 plus I raised to negative 1. This is the common ratio. Now, let's try to simplify. Your P will be equal to, this thing will become A over 1 plus I. Alright? While itong nasa kanan, this will actually be 1 minus, what's this? This thing is actually equal to 1 plus I raised to negative n. Correct? So therefore, itong part na to, pwede to gawing 1 over 1 plus I quantity n. Because again, a negative exponent means nasa baba siya ng fraction. Ngayon, ano tong denominator? This is actually equal to 1 minus 1 over 1 plus I. Now, let's try to simplify further. Now, if you notice, we can simplify this thing. What is that? It will become A times 1 plus I raised to n minus 1 all over 1 plus I raised to n. Now, the denominator will actually become 1 plus I minus 1 all over 1 plus I. Alright? Oops, sorry, hindi pala to A. This is actually A over 1 plus I. Okay, sorry, tao lang. Ito yun. Alright? Now, ang mangyayari dito, guys, is magka-cancel yung ibang mga term. Halimbawa, ito. Cancel ito dito. Tama ba? Also, itong 1, tsaka ito, magka-cancel out din. So, what is left? This whole thing will become A times 1 plus I raised to n minus 1 all over 1 plus I raised to n times I. This formula here is the present worth formula for an ordinary annuity. So take note that we have assumed that this is an ordinary. And remember that when you say ordinary, the first periodic payment will occur sa number 1 mismo. Now, syempre, kung alam na natin yung formula ng present worth, which is this, it follows na alam mo na din yung formula ng future worth. How? Paano, sir? Di man natin dinerive? Well, galing din yan sa principle ng cash flow. If you know the present worth, the future worth can now be obtained using this relationship. Maybe mas elaborate ko yung concept na yun, no, in the future, because actually in the later subjects dun magmamatter yung concept ng worth or halaga. But right now, just accept muna dito ha, utang ko muna yon. If you use this equation, alright, ang mangyayari, substitute mo to dyan sa P, makancel lang ang 1 plus I raised to N. Obviously, right? So, therefore, ang future worth magiging ano? A, 1 plus I raised to N minus 1 all over I. This is the future worth formula. So, number 9. A service car whose cash price was 540,000 was bought with a down payment of 162,000 and monthly installments of 10,874.29 for 5 years. What was the rate of interest if compounded monthly? So ngayon, kung titingnan nyo, compounded monthly siya. So ibig sabihin nun, ang aking N, kailangan iset ko as naka-month. Pag hindi ko kasi yung ginawa, hindi ko makikita yung mga payments sa bawat buwan. So anong ibig sabihin nitong mga number na to? Simple lang. Months po yan. So first month, yung interval, second month, third month, up until sixth month. Ngayon, ilang years bang pinag-uusapan natin dito? Sabi dito, for 5 years. And when you say 5 years, it's equivalent to a total of how many months? Yes, a total of 60 months. Alright, so let's analyze the problem again. Sabi kasi, ang cash price daw ng sasakyan na to is 540,000 pesos. Alright? Pero ang ginawa, hindi siya kinash. Alright? Ang ginawa, nag-down payment muna ng 162,000, then binayaran yung balance monthly. Of course, yung balance, and that is what we need to solve, yung interest na yun. Okay? So, ito yung gagawin natin. Una, tingnan muna natin kung magkano pa yung balance. So, that will be 540,000. So, first, tingnan muna natin kung magkano pa yung balance. So, that will be 540,000 minus 162,000, and that should give us 378,000. So, itong 378 will actually be the present worth here. Alright? So, bakit sir? Bakit ito na yung present worth dito? Naka-thousands tayo. Bakit ito yung present worth dito? Simply because ito na lang yung babayaran mo dun sa hulugan mo. So, ilagay natin dito yung monthly na payments. So, again, ganyan lang yan. Up until 60. So, if you notice, no? 60 talaga yan. Which is the purpose actually of the formula for annuity. Okay? Intended talaga siya para gamitin sa mga marami talagang payments. Kasi yung isipin nyo, kung konti lang talaga yung mga payments na yan, edi hindi nagme-make sense na gumamit ka ng formula, di ba? Kasi halimbawa, 3 equal payment lang yan. Ba't mo pa siya i-annuity kung pwede mo naman i-compounding interest isa-isa? Did you get that? Alright, so magkano ba tong mga monthly payments na to? Easy. That's equal to 10,874.29. Binigay siya actually. And what we need here is the interest. So how do we get that interest? Of course, we need the relationship between this present worth and this annual payment. And the relationship is actually the formula P is equal to A, 1 plus I raised to N, all over 1 plus I raised to N times I. So by substituting, alright, so we have 378,000 and that's equal to 10,874.29 times 1 plus I raised to 60. So bakit 60 yan? Again, because 5 years. And 5 years is equivalent to 60 months. So dito, all over lang to ng 1 plus I raised to 60 times I. So how do we get I here? So kung may shift solve, gamitin na natin, no? 378,000. So by solving it sa calculator, you should get 0.19999, which is actually equal to 0.02 na lang. Before natin to piliin, no, kung nasa choices man to, mag-ingat muna, no? Kasi again, nangyari na to kanina. The default assumption is that is nominal, not the real rate of interest. So be careful ha. So to get the real rate of interest, that is equal to I times M. Tama ba? From the formula a while ago. So multiplying this by M. What is our M? Since sinabing monthly, M should be equal to 12, right? So therefore, this thing will become 0.24, which is 24%. This will be the rate of interest. Okay, before we proceed, let's talk about something first. Alright? So let's say may annuity tayo, specifically an ordinary annuity. And let's say you are to find the future worth. So, future worth sa N. So I will call this F, the future worth here. Kapag gusto mong kunin yung worth ng lahat ng to, mapa-present man or future, what you do is you use compounding interest formula and then bring them all together, then add them. Did you get that? So therefore, halimbawa, in this case, the future worth must be equal to A times 1 plus I raised to N minus 1, di ba? Plus A times 1 plus I raised to N minus 2 plus A 1 plus I raised to N minus 3 until maubos mo sila up until you reach the final term, which will be just equal to A. It makes sense, right? Nangyari na to kanina. Pag nandun ka mismo, nawawala yung 1 plus I mo kasi magiging N minus N. And again, that's equal to 1. Anyway, the point here is, pwede man actually hindi mo i-memorize yung formula kung marunong ka gumamit ng tinatawag na sigma notation. Did you get that? Kasi kung tutuusin, itong buong mga to, lahat ng yan ay actually iisang form lang. Ang nag-change lang talaga dyan ay itong exponent. Right? So, ang pwede mong gawin dyan lagi is express mo na lang yung summation na yan, yung buong mga yan, into this form. And that's actually something 1 plus I raised to X. So, yung X na yan yung nag-change. Yan ngayon yung lalaruin nitong sigma na to. So, knowing that, or actually, pwede din siya sa form na A muna sa labas times the summation of, it can be expressed like this. Why? Because A is constant, so therefore, it can be brought outside. Hindi pwedeng hindi ito maging constant kasi ang pinag-usapan natin ay annuity. At kung naalala nyo pa, isa sa definition ng annuity is that equal ang mga bayad. Alright? Now, ang pag-uusapan na lang talaga natin dito is ano yung magiging lower limit and upper limit. Okay? So, siguro, para hindi kayo malito dito, bibigyan ko na lang kayo ng rules para sa lower and upper limit. This is if you do not want to memorize the long formula kanina. This is if you want a technique that is general. Okay? Because later, ito na actually gagamitin ko para sa mga susunod na annuity. It's actually possible to have a single technique here that works for all the types of annuities. Okay, so ano yung rule ng lower and upper limit? Ganito lang ha. Siguro ipagpalit ko lang yung posisyon ng dalawa, no? Dito na lang yung upper limit, dito yung lower limit, para di kayo ma-confuse. Yung lower limit, gawin mo lang reference minus end. So ano ibig sabihin ng reference? Anong ibig sabihin ng end? Ano lang to? Akin lang tong notation, no? And I hope ma-absorb nyo to. Pag sinabing reference is saan ka kukuha ng worth. So it can be future, it can be present, or anywhere in between. That's why this is general. Take note ha. So mamaya, we will elaborate this. Ang end naman is saan matatagpuan, anong number basically matatagpuan, ang pinakahuling annuity. Alright? Ang upper limit naman, magiging reference minus start. Yan. If you follow this rule, goods na yan. Ngayon pag-usapan natin si deferred annuity. Anong pinagkaiba dito dun sa nauna? Okay, so pag sinabing deferred annuity, ibig sabihin nito, hindi mangyayari yung unang payment sa number 1. Sineparate actually siya ng most ng mga textbooks kasi basically may sariling formula sana to na mas mahaba. Alright? Pero remember, a while ago, we did something na sinabi ko sa inyo na applicable sa lahat ng klase ng annuity. So, yun na lang yung gagamitin natin dito para hindi na tayo mag-derive ng bago pang formula. Okay? So, to give you an idea what is deferred annuity, I'll give you an example. Halimbawa, nagsimula ako magbayad dito sa 3, then mag-end ako sa N. This is an example of a deferred annuity. So, equal payment pa rin siya, equal periodic payments pa rin, pero hindi na nag-occur yung first payment sa number 1. Pwede din actually to. Maglagay ako dito ng 2 dyan. This is considered a deferred annuity. Others might also think na, sir, pwede ko pa rin naman i-apply dito yung formula ng ordinary annuity. Yes, that's true. In fact, kung wala sana yung general method na pinakita ko kanina, alright, yung manumano sana yung ipapakita ko sa inyo, and the manumano here is yung i-treat siya na ordinary. Alright? Pero siguro, to give you lang idea, if you really want to try it, no? Kasi, kung magiging honest ako sa inyo, hindi ko talaga preferred yung manumano na method kasi mabagal siya. Alright? Ang gusto ko yung general, yung may summation. But anyway, let me just tell you pa rin the principle. Ganito, if you want to solve this ng manumano, the idea is, ititreat mo to sila as ordinary. Which means, gagamitin mo pa rin yung formula ng ordinary annuity. Okay? So, sila yon. Ito yung mga formula ng ordinary annuity. So, para mapagana sila, ganito lang. Yung P na makukuha mo pag ginamit mo yung formula is nandito. Notice the pattern. It is always one step behind or one period behind the first payment. While yung F or your future worth will fall dito mismo sa dulo na payment. Just like kanina. Alright? Yung N naman dun sa formula should be the number of annuity or number of payments. Did you get that? Now let's try question number 10. Sabi dito, a lot for machine costs 60,000 pesos if paid in cash. On the installment plan, a purchaser should pay 20,000 pesos down payment and 10 quarterly installments, the first due at the end of the first year after purchase. If money is worth 15% compounded quarterly, determine the quarterly installment. Sir, yung first payment mag-occur at the end of the first year. Paano to naging deferred? Di ba sabi mo kanina, pag nasa number 1, yung unang payment, ordinary yun? Dyan ka nagkakamali. Hindi mo na-gets yung problem. Dito na ngayon magmamatter yung understanding mismo ng cash flow diagram. Let me break it down to you guys. Sinabi sa problem na may isang lot, parang ano yan, part yan ng isang machine, 60,000 daw kapag kinash. Alright? Parang yung car problem kanina, no? So, gusto ng purchaser, i-installment, hindi i-cash. So, sabi, bayad ka daw, pag i-installment mo daw, you need to pay 20,000 pesos first. Then, you need to pay the remaining balance with 10 quarterly installments. Dyan muna tayo mag-usap, no? Anong ibig sabihin ng 10 quarterly installment? Does it mean 10 years babayaran? Of course, hindi. Bakit? Pag sinabing 10 quarterly installments, yung number of annuities mismo yung 10. Alright? So, anong ibig sabihin nito? Hindi yan definitely aabot ng 10 years. Bakit? Kasi quarterly yung payment. So, sa isang taon, 4 na kagad na payments yung magagawa. Alright? Diyan na ngayon, mo makikita kung bakit mali yung thinking mo kanina. Why? It's because sinabi sa problem that the first payment is due at the end of the first year. So, question, where is the first year? The interval from 0 to 4 is actually the first year. Why? It's because quarterly ang gagawin mo sa time scale mo. Hindi mo yan pwede gawing annually kasi hindi mo makikita yung payments. Think about that, no? So, you need to scale this down to quarterly para makita mo lahat ng transactions. And since ito yung first year and number 4 is the end of the first year, it makes sense, no? First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. Number 4 is going to be the end of the first year. So, dito ko ilalagay yung unang payment. Alright? So, 10 po yan. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10. Okay. So, ano yan dyan? Hindi ko alam. No. Well, bilangin natin. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So, therefore, nasa 13 to. Alright? Or pwede din, 4 plus 10 minus 1. It's, alright? If ever masyado na marami, tapos tinamad ka na magbilang, no? It's 4 plus ilan yan, minus 1. Okay? So, So, sinabi sa problem that the interest daw is 15% compounded quarterly. Take note, nominal yan lagi pag walang sinabi, di ba? Automatic yan nominal muna such that yung I mo will be 15 divided by 4. So, 15 divided 4 is equal to 3.75%. So, ito yung magiging interest rate mo. Dito mo siguro ma-realize, no, na importante itong rule na to. Kung ano yung ugali ng time scale mo, yun din dapat yung ugali ng I. Parang yung sa simple interest lang kanina, no? It's for the units to cancel. Okay? It's for the interest and the period to match. That's the rule. Now, saan ko ilalagay yung binigay niyang 60,000 pesos? Well, ito yun, guys, no? 60,000 yung cost ng machine. Bawasan mo yan ng down payment. Ilan na lang? 40,000. Dito mo ngayon lang ilalagay sa zero. Alright? So, parang ang idea, yung remaining 40,000 na balance is babayaran nitong annuity. What you see here is a perfect example of a deferred annuity. Okay? So, dito, it's because of this gap here and walang payment dito sa 1. So, I do not want to use the formula, no? Because, again, added steps. I'm going to use the technique na minention ko kanina. So, how do you use that technique? Ganito lang, no? Okay? Itong 40,000, ilagay mo na sa unahan. It's the money na supposedly, kung baliktad lang sana yung problem na to, parang ito yung kinukuha mo sana. Okay, lagay mo na yan dyan. Equal lang yan, dyan sa mga payment na yan, which is equal to A, times the summation of 1 plus I. What is your I? Your I is 0.0375, alright, raised to a variable. Okay? Now, let's talk about the limits. The lower limit, if you still remember what I've said a while ago, the lower limit is reference minus the last payment or the end payment. Well, the upper limit is reference minus the starting payment or the starting annuity. Dito sa problem na to, asan ang reference? Reference is where you get this. Itong nasa kaliwa ng equation. So, the reference shall be 0. Alright? So, you put 0 here as reference minus sinong pinakahuling payment. The last payment is 13. So, you put 13 here. Did you get that? Alright. Now, how about the upper limit? The upper limit is simply reference still minus where is the first annuity? The first annuity is nasa 4. You just put 4 here. Now, sa calculator, ang gagawin mo dito is, isipin mo na lang, madali man lang to i-simplify, di ba? Ibababa mo lang tong summation. So, this will become 40,000 all over the summation of, this will be 1.0375 ko na lang, raised to x, then this will be negative 13 to negative 4. You press equals, and that will give you 5,439. So I'm going to put that here, no? A must be equal to 5,439.18, and this will be your final answer. Alright? Very good. Now, at this point, siguro yung iba naiisip dyan na, Sir, parang confusing pa rin itong formula na binigay mo, itong technique na binigay mo. Bakit? Kasi, paano nabaliktad ko yung upper tsaka lower limit? E di, mas lalong disgrasya ako. Paano kung nasa choices yung lumabas sa sagot? Guys, I'm 100% sure, kahit itaya ko pa yung isa kong bayag, no? Hindi mangyayari yun. Ganun ako katiwala sa inyo. Alright? Actually, I want you to try it, no? Ilagay niya sa calculator. Sadyain yung baliktarin. Sadyain nating baliktarin yung upper limit tsaka lower limit. So, therefore, nasa baba ang negative 4, nasa taas ang negative 13. And I want you to press equal. Anong nangyari? Diba? May lumabas sa calculator. That is actually your calculator telling you na panala ko sa pustahan at safe ang isa kong bayag. Anyway, yeah, that is your calculator telling you na hindi yun mangyayari. It's impossible na mabaliktad mo because error siya. Bakit siya nag-error? It's because of how the sigma notation is programmed sa calculator ninyo. Ang ginagawa kasi niyan, alright, ang lower limit, sinasubstitute muna dun sa function, and then, yung susunod is plus 1 ng lower limit or previous na ginamit. So therefore, anong mangyayari kung ang lower limit mas mataas kaysa sa upper limit? Okay? Yung mataas na number na yun, plus 1 mo, plus 1, plus 1, you will never reach the upper limit because it's lower than the lower limit. Did you get that? And that's why nag-error siya. Alright? So therefore, this technique is good because self-checking actually siya. Okay? Now, let's talk about number 11. Alright? Sabi dito, familiar ang pangalan. Juncel is thinking of establishing a fund for his daughter's college education. He wants his daughter to be able to withdraw 60,000 pesos from the fund on her 18th birthday, again on her 19th birthday, again on her 20th birthday, up to her 23rd birthday, if the fund earns an interest of 12% per year, compounded annually. How much should Juncel deposit at the end of each year from the time his daughter reaches 5 years old up to her 17th birthday? Dito mo ma-realize, no? Na si Juncel, very, very thoughtful. Napaka-thoughtful na tatay. No? Imagine, naisip niya yan. Anyway, so paano to? Anong klaseng problem to? Alright? So, let's draw. This problem is actually similar to a past board exam. Alright? So, first, dito muna tayo. Ano ibig sabihin ng problem? Yung napaka-thoughtful na tatay, gusto niyang mag-deposit sa isang bank account ng certain amount for a certain period of repeated times, alright? Para pagdating sa 18th birthday ng kanyang minamahal na anak, disclaimer lang wala pa akong anak, alright, is maka-withdraw yung anak niya ng tigsi 60,000 from her account. Alright? So, para yun sa kanyang college education. Imagine, naisip niya yun, ha? Naisip niya yung future ng anak niya. Ngayon, ganito. Maybe, tanungin ko muna kayo. Saan ba natin ilalagay yung mga tigsi 60,000? Okay? So, sinabi sa problem kasi 18th birthday. But does that really mean number 18? Alright? Dito ko ba sa 18 talaga ilalagay yung 16? Saan ba siya mag-fall? Saan ka ba nagbo-birthday? That's the question. Or kailan? Kailan ka ba talaga dapat nagbo-birthday? So, siguro I want you to pause the video for a while and think about that. No, when or kailan ka ba nagbo-birthday? Because remember, sabi natin kanina na yung year, alright, is not actually the number. The year is the interval. Diba? Sabi ko kanina, halimbawa, the gap between 4 and 5 is actually what? The 5th year. Do you remember that? Yes, sinabi ko to kanina. Palatandaan ko lagi dyan, guys, is kung anong year, yung dulo niya, yun yung number. Alright? So therefore, the number is always the end of the year. Now, let's go back to what I'm asking you. Now, kailan ka ba nagbo-birthday? Is it at the beginning of that year or is it at the end? Halimbawa, dumating ka sa 18 years old tapos gusto mo mag-speech, 'di ba? Paano mo siya i-introhan? Thank you for being here at the beginning of my 18th year of existence, 'di ba? Or baka may taga-mega doon sa birthday mo tapos i-correctionin ka tuloy. Oy, mali yan. Hindi sa beginning yung birthday mo, nasa end po yun ng yung 18th year of existence, 'di ba? Think about it. Kailan ka ba nag-18th birthday? Is it at the beginning of your 18th year of existence or is it at the end of your 18th year of existence? Think about that. So, ayun, pinos mo at pinag-isipan mo, no? Now, the answer to that question, para mas masimplify yung thought, no? Siguro ganito na lang, palitan ko yung tanong. Let's say, ito yung edad mismo ng bata. Ito mismo yung duration ng buhay ng bata. Nagigets mo yung point ko? Alright? Then let's say, pinanganak pa lang yung bata. Tanungin kita. Alright? Nung pinanganak yung bata, 1-year-old ba kagad siya? Think about it. Kasi kung iniisip mo na yung birthday ay nag-o-occur sa beginning ng yung existence, mali yun. Because think about it. This is the first year. If this is the scale, if this is the life of my daughter, di ba? Then therefore, the gap from 0 to 1 shall be the first year of her existence. Dito siya namuhay sa unang taon na nabuhay siya dito sa mundo. Di ba? Ngayon, nung pinanganak ba siya, 1 year old siya kagad? Ano yun? Pinanganak pa lang, may dala na akong cake. Tapos, uy Han, congrats no. May birthday cake na kagad, nakasulat na 1 year old. Wrong. That's wrong, di ba? So, mali yung thinking pag ganun. The birthday will occur at the end of that year. Did you get that? So, kung ito yung first year of existence, nag-birthday yung aking anak sa number 1. Di ba? At the end, nung natapos na yung first year na yon. Alright? So, yung second year ito, at the end din ng second year, nangyari yung birthday. Consequently, yung 18th birthday should occur here sa number 18 because number 18 is the end of her 18th year of existence. Therefore, the first 60K shall be nasa 18. And of course, sinabi sa problem na tuloy-tuloy po yan hanggang kailan? Hanggang 23rd birthday. So, lahat po na to ay puro 60K. Now, para masatisfy itong tagsi 60,000 na to, alright, anong ginawa ng thoughtful na tatay? Nag-deposit. Kailan siya nag-deposit daw? Nag-deposit daw ako from the time my daughter reaches 5 years old up to her 17th birthday, which means starting from number 5 up until 17, may deposit akong tig-A. I do not know how much is that kasi that is actually the question. Now, sinabi sa problem, if the interest rate is equal to, what is this? 12% compounded annually, how much should I deposit? So, how do we solve this? Ito na, no? Actually, itong problem yung gagamitin ko to make you realize that it's better to have a single technique that is good for everything. Because here, magulo siya. In fact, para siyang dalawang grupo ng cash flow, di ba? Dito yung grupo ng mga A, which is considered a deferred annuity. This is yung grupo ng mga 60, which are also deferred annuities. Alright? Now, ganito. Para ma-solve to, again, the thought is, ang gusto mangyari ng problem is enough yung dineposit ko. Alright? To the point na by the time my daughter withdraws the final 60K, boom, 0 ang remaining balance. Ganun ang thought ng problem, di ba? Sakto lang talaga yung dineposit ko, including the interest, na by the time my daughter reaches 23 years old, wala, naubos na yung laman ng bank account. Okay? So, para mangyari yun, anong gagawin? Ito na. Dito na ngayon papasok yung concept ng worth. Ano yung worth sa Tagalog? Halaga. Alright? Sana all may worth. Anyway, ganito lang guys. No, yung worth na tinutukoy ko, it includes the present and the future worth, of course. Yung worth kasi na yan guys, it's like resultant in mechanics. Pwede mo siya actually relate. Alright? Worth is like the resultant in mechanics. Parang ganito, no? Itong mga payments na to, itong mga 60,000 na to, may halaga yan kahit saan. Diba? Buti pa siya. Okay, may halaga yan kahit saan. Ngayon, anong property ng worth yung gagamitin natin? Gagamitin natin yung property na when two cash flows have the same amount of worth sa iisang spot or sa iisang lugar or sa iisang point in time, the two cash flows are said to be equal. Did you get my point? So, ganito, no? Ito na. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to equate the worth at a certain point in time nitong dalawang cash flows. And to do that, actually, all you need to do is pick a certain point of time. Walang definite na ano dyan. Walang definite na lugar. Hindi pwede mong sabihin na, sa 0 lang ako pwede mag-worth or present worth na lang yung kunin ko. Present worth nito, then present worth nito, equate ko yun. Yes, that is also a correct solution, but my point here is actually to give you or to force into you yung principle na kahit saan mo siya i-equate, gagana yan. Again, parang resultant nga, di ba? Okay? So sige, pumili kayo ng point in time or pumili kayo dyan ng number. Doon tayo mag-equate ng worth. Okay, so sige, pili kayo. Alright? Basahin ko yung naisip ninyo. Narinig ko through Ayan o. Signal. Narinig ko yung sinabi ng isa. Inisip niya lang. Nasa siguro, malayo-layo eh. Nasa Davao siguro to. Ay, hindi. Nasa nasa Davao. Sabi niya guys, no, sa number 3 daw tayo. Sa number 3 daw tayo mag-equate. Sige, sundin natin yun na. Sa number 3. Alright, sige. Dito tayo sa number 3. Anong gagawin natin dyan? First, kunin natin yung worth nitong mga 60K dyan sa 3. Tawagin kong maybe F3. Di ba? Parang ano yung worth nito dito? So, how do you solve that? Let's use the general formula na ginawa natin kanina or the general method. This is just the money, 60,000, times the summation of, ito na, 1.12 raised to x. Then again, lower limit should be, di ba, sa 3 ko kinukuha yung pera, siya ang reference. 3 minus, asa ng last na payment? 23. Very good. Alright? Then ang upper limit will be 3 minus 18. And that shall give us this value. So, calculate natin yan. All over 3 minus 23. 3 minus 18. And that shall give us a value of 50,476.52. This will be the worth ng lahat ng 60K na to exactly at this position. Alright? And again, what's the principle? For this to produce this, parehas dapat din dito yung worth nitong mga A. So all I need to do is equate this. Di F3 din to. Alright? So let's equate. Okay, so this will become F3 is equal to A, right? Summation of 1.12 raised to x. Okay? Then that will be, okay, ano to? Reference mo dyan is 3 minus the last A is 17. Take note ha, kasi we're talking about the annuity ng mga A dito, not the 60K anymore. Tapos na po sila. So therefore, ang end natin ngayon is 17, yung pinakadulong A. Ngayon, 3 naman to, then ang first ay nasa 5. Tapos ang gagawin na lang is isa-substitute na lang ito dito, and that shall give us the value of A. So do that na lang, gawin ko yan sa calculator. So answer, pwede to, di ba? Answer na lang, divided by the summation. Okay, answer divided by the summation of 1.12 raised to x over, ito naman, si lower limit will be 3 minus 17 to 3 minus 5. And that will give us, how much? This is the answer, 8,801.01. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you guys. No, hindi man ako yung gumawa ng technique na yon. It's just something na naituro din sa akin. Okay, during my review, sa mega review. Alright, tinuro lang din siya. And I think nag-exist pa nga siya before pa dun sa nagturo sa amin. Alright, so matagal na talaga to. But, what I did is ginawan ko siya ng variation. That technique na reference minus end and reference minus start, that's mine. Basically, that's basically anong ginawa ko so that mas madali ko siya tandaan. Yun yung parang naging thought ko doon. You might encounter techniques wherein ang ginagawa nila dyan is summation of 1 plus I raised to negative x kapag present worth. Alright? Baka yun yung na-meet ng iba, no? Kasi matagal na tong method eh. Alright? 1 plus I raised to x. Ayaw ko to. Okay? Pwede to. Pero ayaw ko to. What's the reason? Siguro you can figure it out na lang, no? On your own, kung bakit ayaw ko to. Ang gusto ko kasi, isang form lang talaga. Isang form lang talaga. Any present man or future man yan or present, alright? Basta ang form na gusto ko, ganyan. Then wala nang iba. Ano na lang lalaruin ko? Itong upper tsaka lower limit. Ang maganda sa method na yun, kasi yung rules ng lower tsaka upper limit is the same regardless anong worth ang ginagamit mo or kinukuha. And that's the reason why gumawa ko ng ganun, to make it a single technique na lang. Now, let's talk about annuity due. So, annuity due is the third type ng annuity. And siguro, ituturo ko na lang talaga dito yung konsepto niya na lang. I will not teach the manual calculation or the formula anymore kung yung nasa textbooks kasi nga we now have a general method in solving annuities. Hindi ko na ibibigay yung nasa textbook nito. But siguro it helps kung alam niyo yung concept. Okay? So ano bang annuity due? Pag sinabing annuity due, it simply means the payments are made not at the end of each period, but at the beginning of each period. What do you mean by that? Ganito. I'll give you an example. So let's say ito yung cash flow ng isang klase ng transaction. So, kapag ordinary annuity, alright, ganito siya. Pag ordinary annuity, let's say 5 periodic payments. O yan, 5 ordinary annuity. So, bakit ordinary? Kasi nasa 1 yung unang payment. Okay. Kapag annuity due, alright, the payments are made at the beginning of each period. Which means that if you have 5 payments na naka-annuity due, the first transaction will occur sa 0. Okay? Why? Kasi nga, 0 is the beginning of the first year. Diba? Ito na yung reason kung bakit talagang chinaga ko tong explain the difference between the beginning and the end of a certain period. Diba? So, dito mo ma-realize na kapag annuity due, yung unang payment nasa 0 and kapag nagbayad ka sa 0, bayad na. Bayad ka na dito sa first year. Parang renta sa bahay or upa, di ba? Kapag nag-rent ka o na-experience mo na mag-board ganyan, di ba advance lagi yung payment para sa buwan na yon? Did you notice that? Bayad ka muna. Then baka stay ka na for that particular month. Okay, so it also follows that your payment for the second period is nasa 1. And if you continue that, 5 payments will end sa 4. Diba? 5 payment na yan, pero 4 pa lang yan. Yan na ngayon yung reason bakit in-adjust lang ng konti yung formula sa mga textbook. E di alam mo na yung principle. E di let's try question number 12. Sabi dyan, a contractor bought a welding machine costing 250,000 pesos payable in 10 semi-annual payments. Each installment payable at the beginning of each period. Anong ibig sabihin kaagad nun? Matik, annuity due, di ba? Determine the amount of each installment. Okay. So let's draw the cash flow diagram first. So let's start with the interval. Ano yung ilalagay ko muna dito para sa aking x-axis, no? Ganito lang. Sabi dyan, 10 semi-annual payments. Alright? So, anong ibig sabihin nun, guys? Ibig sabihin, kailangan ko i-treat ito as naka-semi-annual. Because, if I do not do that, di ko makikita ang transactions. Alright? So, kung semi-annual to, then therefore, dalawang gap para maging 1 year. Alright? So, ilan yun? Ilang gaps yung ilalagay ko? 10. Kasi 5 taon to sigurado. Kasi nga, 10 semi-annual payments. So, therefore, mag-end pa rin ako dito sa, ilalagay ko pa rin 10 dyan. Now, let's see. Tingnan natin na. Sabi dyan, if the rate of interest is 26% compounded semi-annually, o anong ibig sabihin nun? Yung binigay, nominal yan. I told you a while ago, this is automatically nominal, such that your I, which is the true or real rate of interest, will become R over M, which is 13%. We are to determine the amount of each installment. Okay, so that's pretty easy, no? Ilagay muna natin sa 250,000. Ano yan? It's the cost of the machine if you're going to buy it right now, cash, di ba? And now means 0. Ilagay ko siya dito. This will be 250,000 or 250K na lang ilagay ko, no? Ngayon, let us put the annuities na unknown, ha? Unknown yung annuities dito, ha? So, to put the annuities, ito yon. The first payment will occur at the beginning of the first year. Therefore, dito ko ilalagay yon. Tak, yan. Yan ngayon yung unang payment. I will call that A. Alright? The payment for the second year will occur here. The payment for the third year will occur here. And if you continue that, 10 semi-annual payments will definitely end sa 9, not 10. Alright? Okay. So, ito yung mga A natin. Yan yung mga A. Yan yung mga A. Now, how do you get A? ito na. Dito mo ma-realize no kung bakit tinuro ko yung general na method. Kasi tingnan nyo, follow pa rin dito yung method na tinuro ko kanina. What will be the equation kapag ginamit natin yun? Ganito lang. 250,000 must be equal to the annual payments times the summation of what? Of 1 plus I, which is 1.13 raised to x. Now, here comes the limits. Ang limit dito will be reference kung saan nang kuha si 250. Saan ba siya nakuha? Sa 0. So, our reference will be 0 minus, where is the last payment? Nasa 9. Dito man nakita, no, na ang ina-adjust na lang, depende sa topic, kung anong topic ng annuity ito, is yung limits na lang. If you use this method, not the whole formula. That's why it's very effective, no? Now, 0 minus 9 to, then anong numerate? Now, ano yung magiging upper limit? 0 minus 0. Alright? So, i-divide mo to dito, and that should give you the value of A, which is 40,772.03. And this will be the final answer. Very easy. Now let's try question number 13. It says here, a contractor wishes to buy a machine worth 1 million after 1 year. If the bank gives an interest of 1.5% compounded monthly, and he deposits 100,000 at the beginning of each month for 6 months, starting 6 months from now, how much more will the contractor have to buy the machine? Alright? So, let's try to draw the cash flow diagram. Alright, so kung nag-gets nyo yun, di na-realize nyo na ganito dapat yung time scale natin. Okay, so yung aking axis ay nasa months. So, ibig sabihin, 12 months ito. Now, sinabi sa problem na gusto ng isang contractor bumili ng isang machine that is worth 1 million pesos after 1 year. So, saan ko ilalagay yung 1 million? Of course, dito yon. Okay? Dito ko ilalagay siya. So, ilagay ko dito, 1M na lang. Okay? Now, sinabi na yung bangko daw magbibigay ng interest na 1.5% compounded monthly. So, I'm going to write that here. This will be 1.5% over 12. It should be over 12, alright? Now, sabi din niya na if he deposits 100,000 at the end of each month for 6 months, and the beginning of the payment must be 6 months from now. So, paano ko isusulat yon? Napakasimple. Asan ba yung 6 months from now? Ito yon, guys, no? This is 6 months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, if this is the first 6 months, dito sa dulo ng 6th month, dapat ilagay yung pinakaunang 100,000. Why? It's because, sinabi yan sa problem, starting 6 months from now. Alright? So, dito ako mag-start din magbilang ng 6. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So, anong napansin nyo? Mapapansin nyo guys, nag-terminate yun sa 11. Be careful, alright? So, ito puro to tig 100k and so on. So, paano natin masasolve tong problem na to? Napakasimple. Ano bang tinatanong? How much more will the contractor has to have in order to buy the machine? So, ganito lang siya. Siguro, i-zoom in ko konti Okay, so ang nakikita nyo dito is yung tigo 100,000. Okay? So, lahat ng to, 100,000, yung 6. Ngayon, ganito Alright? Binago ko actually yung figure kasi gusto kong ayusin siya. Alright? Na solid arrow ko kasi kanina yung 1 million doon. So, I want you to take note of that that is just a minor error, no? Nagsinabi ko kanina that if you put solid arrow, nangyari yung transaction. Hindi po nangyari yung 1 million na yon. Alright, Anong di nangyari, sir? Binili nga yung machine I mean, not directly na nagbayad na 1 million. I want you to understand this, Ngayon, ang ginawa kasi is ganito. Nagbayad ng tigwa 100,000. Alright? Then after 1 year, may halaga, take note, or may worth yung 100,000 na yon. Tawagin ko yung F100. So, future worth ng tigo 100,000. Alright? Now, ito yung idea. Magkano pa yung dapat idagdag ng contractor para mabili yung tig 1 million na machine? So, ito, let me call that W na lang, okay? W plus the future worth of all of this must be equal to that 1 million. I hope na-gets nyo bakit ko sinabi yun, no? Okay? It's very important. Stricto tayo dito kasi technical yung ating subject masyado, no? So, ganito. Alright? Let's obtain F100 first. And to get that, that is by using the technique. 100 summation of, okay, so what is this? 1 plus, what is this again? 1.5 raised to 1.5% over 12 raised to x. And the limits must be ganito. F100 is nasa 12. So that's our reference, 12. Minus, where is the last 100k? Take note ha, baka maduling kayo dito. Andito ang last 100k. So therefore, this is minus 11. Alright? Then ang upper limit is 12 minus 6. And from here, makuha mo yung F100. So, let's calculate that. 100. Press equals, and that will be 602,000. 602,630.48. In-adjust ko na kasi naka-thousands to eh. Balit, minultiply ko na yung sagot by 1,000. Anyway, by the time you reach number 12, ito na ang bayad. Pero hindi pa to yung sagot. Okay? So, how do you get the answer? Simple lang. W plus F100 must sum up to 1 million. Di ba? So, magkano pa ba ang idadagdag ng contractor? E di minus na lang natin yun. And that should give us 397,370 pesos. This will be yung kulang ng contractor para mabayaran yung machine.